Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Feel It to Heal It podcast. I'm so excited to bring you today's episode. Today's topic is going all in on yourself. This has been such a big theme this week with both myself personally and my clients, because that's how it tends to go in entrepreneurship. We attract clients that mirror us in a lot of ways where we can go through something and then guide our clients through it afterwards or during it. And so my clients and I have been mirroring each other a lot. So, we're going to talk about what does it mean to go all in on yourself. This is obviously an expression that I'm sure you've heard before and maybe you hear in the, wellness world a lot. And you may not know like, well, what does that actually mean to go all in on yourself? This is okay, bye. I was just showing you if you're watching this on YouTube or on Instagram, that was Molly, my step grandma's cat who I'm fostering. It's a long story. Anyway, so what does it mean to go all in on yourself? So I am going to pull up, I actually wrote out my client, I wrote my client out some steps because she was like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, okay, if you're asking that, that means there are other people that need to hear this as well. So I emailed it to myself. So I'm going to pull it up so I can read it to you guys. And then I'll teach you these steps. So let's see where it is. Here we go. And then we also had some questions come in from someone. So actually, let's start with this question and then we're going to dive into the steps. So the question says, if we are aware that we have unprocessed emotions such as grief or anger, but we can't process these unprocessed emotions, how can our minds find peace with that? Because I feel like my body will hold it as much as needed until we truly are ready for that. But in the meantime, the mind needs peace and not over analyzing or digging. Okay, so my answer to that question would be one, why do you believe that you can't process the emotions? And two, if you're struggling to process the emotion, the first step in processing any emotion is noticing when you get caught in your mind, when your mind is overanalyzing, digging, ruminating, going in spirals or circles, and getting out of your head and into your body. And how do you do that? Very simple. You start with your breath. So anytime you notice, oh, my mind is going, it's spinning, you have to interrupt it by putting your hands on your heart and taking 3 deep breaths. So let's do this together now. So take a breath all the way into your body and slowly release. And again, breathing all the way in and release. And again. The moment you refocus on your breath, the moment that you will allow whatever emotion that is the root of those overanalyzing thoughts to be felt. And that is how we process emotion, is we notice the thoughts that come up in our minds, and then we have to get to the emotion underneath. Most people start with trying to reframe thoughts. You can't reframe thoughts until you have shifted the energy in your body creating those thoughts. So if you're having overanalyzing or digging or whatever rumination, and you interrupt that with 3 deep breaths, and you allow whatever sensation, whatever emotion is in your body underneath those thoughts, creating those thoughts don't come from nowhere. Those thoughts come from the emotion. Then you allow that emotion to shift. You allow that energy to shift. And then you allow your thoughts to shift. Oh, sorry, I just got distracted because my friend had a baby yesterday and she just sent me the picture. Oh, oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. Okay, I had the do not disturb on my computer where I'm recording this, but I did see the notification. Oh, she's okay. Anyway, This is my fellow therapist friend who I went to social work school with, who was like the reason that I moved to San Diego because I visited her and now she's a mom. Oh my God. Okay. So I hope that clarifies with that question. Anytime rumination, over analyzing, obsessing, anytime you're stuck in your head, anxious thoughts, fearful thoughts, like anytime that you get stuck in your head, you have to use your breath to get back into your body. I just tried moving Sky closer to me and he got very grumpy. Right, Bubba? He's a good boy. Okay. So let's move on to our steps. So these are the 4 steps of how to go all in on yourself. So step number 1, decide. Decide that no matter what, whatever happens, that you are coming back to the decision that you are making, that you are going to make your dreams a reality. So whatever that looks like. So let's say you want to, your dream is to be a famous basketball player. You're deciding that no matter what, that desire was placed in your heart by God for a reason because you're meant to experience it. And so no matter what, you are going to do whatever it takes to become a basketball player. And that starts in the present moment, right? So how do famous basketball players become famous basketball players? They show up every day and they play basketball. Like it really gets to be that simple. Let's say your dream is to be a doctor. And so what do? You decide in that moment that no matter what, no matter how much it costs, no matter how much work is involved. Like I have a friend who's a doctor and she went through hell and back and she was like, I can't imagine doing anything else. And so she decided that she was going to do it no matter how hard it was, no matter how many loans she had to take out, no matter what, she was going to do it. And now she's an incredible doctor. And now she's going to get paid to fucking travel the world doing research to find cures for diseases. So, like, talk about it all being worth it. So, decide. So, if you are a fellow entrepreneur or coach, which most of my clients are, I'm going to speak to you a little bit more specifically. No matter if you have a lower income month, no matter if it's taking, quote, a long time for things to appear in the physical. Oh, I want money, but it's not showing up. Oh, I want a new client, but it's not showing up. No matter how long that takes, you go back to deciding that you are going to continue to believe in your dreams becoming a reality and decide that it's going to happen for you. Step number 2 is inspired action. So taking the inspired action you feel led to take towards your dreams. What is inspired action? Inspired action is anchoring back to what do I feel led to do every day to move the needle forward, even when I don't feel like it. For example, 10 minutes, 4 minutes before starting this live, I was lying in bed with this heating pad because I'm about to get my cycle any day and I'm keeping my womb space very warm. And I was laying in the sun and I was listening to a sound bath and I was just stretching. I was just like being a cat. And I was so just, oh, so grateful and cozy to have this space in my day to just be, to rest, to soak up the sun, to take care of my body. And I was like, oh, I could totally go for a nap right now. But I had already pushed back morning tea a half hour, which I am thinking about permanently changing the time to 11 because I'm realizing 11 is my perfect start time for work. Like, I love having the morning to do all my stuff, breakfast within an hour, walking the dogs, no phone time, and my work requires my phone. So I think 11 is like my perfect start time. Anything later feels too late. Anything earlier feels too early. 10:30 has been okay, but I love 11. 11 is like my sweet spot. So we'll see. I'm so used to having morning tea at 10:30, but then I'm late anyway, so might as well just change it to 11. So even though I was like, ooh, I don't necessarily feel like getting up, I met myself where I'm at, which is why I'm doing this from my bed. And I show the fuck up anyway because I remember my why. My why is that I have a mission. My soul was put here on earth to use all of my wisdom from my past lives because I'm a very old soul and I have a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of medicine to give through that wisdom. And it would be so selfish of me not to show up and share that wisdom when someone needs to hear this right now in this present moment, because I felt like maybe taking a nap. I can take a nap after this because I'm my own boss and I get to create my own schedule and I have spaciousness in my days. And that is such a gift because I rewired my nervous system out of hustle mode, out of survival mode, where I used to work fucking 6 days a week, 8-hour days. Fuck that shit. No, 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 no. Never again. Never again. Never again. So, what is the action that you feel inspired to take? If you want to become a famous basketball player, okay, maybe the inspired action is practicing your 3-pointers every day. If my goal is to build a big, impactful business, to grow my audience, to grow my community, to grow my impact, to grow the number of people that I'm reaching with my wisdom every day, my inspired action is showing up every day through my content, through this podcast episode, through this Instagram live, through reaching out and doing collaborations with people, through putting myself out in the world, because how is anyone going to find you if you're not putting yourself out in the world? So I am putting myself out in all areas to the world to trust that the people who need me will be here. Allie said that's my perf start time too. I did 10:30 today though. Yay. Yeah, 10:30, like 10:30 to 11 is like the sweet spot. Like I could do 10 to 11, nothing before 10. Although I do have a client who lives near Turkey, and so the time difference I have to do 9:30. That is an exception. I make exceptions for my international clients, but for my domestic clients, we stick to the 10 to 11 range. Okay, so number 3 is staying in the present. This is the hardest one out of all the things. Out of all the steps, this is the hardest one. Why? Because you can take action, right? That might feel scary, but we all take action every day. We pee, we poop, we brush our teeth, we floss, we put oil on our face, we drink water. Speaking of, I need some water. Um, Look, me taking action, drinking water. Every day we take action. Now, we want to be intentional about taking more of the action that will lead us to more of what we want rather than taking the action that actually takes us away, farther away from what we want. So, taking action towards what we want. And remembering it's not about how you feel temporarily in the moment of like, oh, I don't feel like it. No one fucking feels like doing anything. We're human. We're meant to just fucking, be naked eating fruit in nature. Like we're not meant to really be doing much. We're meant to be. That's what we're meant to do is be. So we're not meant to want to do like a million things in our days. No, that's not actually how we're designed as humans. But when we do the things that we feel led to do, like me hopping on this live, I knew, okay, you're feeling a little sleepy right now, but I know that as soon as you get on that live and you start talking about the thing that lights you up, you're going to be so fucking glad you did. And here I am in this present moment, feeling so lit up by these 4 steps that I wrote out for my client yesterday. And I'm so grateful to be able to share them with you guys that we do the action anyway. So, step number 3, staying in the present, continuing to release the how and literally taking it moment by moment. Now, this is something that I have been working on with my clients big time because this is something that I've really begun to master, but it took me 2.5 years to master. No, more than that. Okay, so July, January, February, March. So 2 years and 8 months to master. And it's still a continual daily practice, but I truly have always been able to tell when I'm still learning something, still mastering my craft. And then when I've gotten to a place of, oh, it's integrated, right? So, for example, taking care of myself, I used to not know how to take care of myself. I used to my inner child needed reparenting. And so I would need reminders from my mentor. Go fucking brush your teeth. Like she literally would have to be in mommy bear mode. Like, go brush your teeth. Like, what do you mean you didn't brush your teeth tonight? What do you mean you didn't do your meditation, your chanting? Go fucking do your meditation chanting, right? We all need reparenting because we were not taught how to parent ourselves. Shout out to my dad if you're listening. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this. I had a flashback when I was thinking about why did I not learn how to take care of myself? And I remember I would go to this Jewish day camp with my Christian father, which was funny. And every morning What did I eat for breakfast before camp? I was fed mini muffins. He gave us mini muffins because he was like the cool dad, right? The cool, fun dad that would give us these mini muffins. And I'm like, what the fuck? No wonder I didn't realize I'm supposed to be eating protein for breakfast. I was fed processed food for breakfast. Love you, dad. But like, you only know what you know, right? And I don't blame my dad for that because that's just where he was at, where he thought that was like a proper breakfast, right? Like there's no shame or judgment. It's just like we only know what we know and things become so normalized. So so then like when, and then my mom was always more of like she didn't have any crap in the house, like she would always eat pretty healthy but still very balanced. Like she would be like, yeah, I enjoy the foods that I enjoy. She was actually really good when it came to relationship with food stuff because she was so active. She loved going to the gym, but she always enjoyed her food. She always ate whatever she wanted to eat, but she always focused on health too. And little did I know that's probably because she was sick for way longer than I realized she was sick, so it was probably that extra motivation. But we don't need to be sick to have that motivation, right? Like, I was sick as a baby, and so I think about, "Oh, my second chance, I wanna be as healthy as possible." But the irony of that is because of being sick as a kid and that trauma, food then became a coping strategy for me. So the irony of that is like, oh, I should be eating healthy because I have the second chance of life and I want to rebuild my health. But then the irony is, oh, but my body uses this for safety, for soothing, for comfort. And so I had to rewire that. So anyway, I don't know how I got on that whole side tangent. Oh, I was saying that I first had to learn how to take care of myself, and now it's just my new norm. I don't have to think about brushing my teeth before bed. I just do it. I don't have to think about, oh, eat breakfast in the morning. I just do it. Like it has just become my new routine. And so that is where I'm at with being present. Of course, I'm still human. I have future tripping moments. I have in my head moments. I have all the things that we experience as humans, but I've really integrated this in my body of like anytime I notice my mind wanting to go off into the future, like it was doing that this morning where I was like, oh, like I wonder if I'm gonna, be able to do that or afford that or pay that bill or do that or, if I'm gonna hear from this person. Like I was kind of starting to wonder, like, oh, I wonder like what that and then I was like, oh, present, come back, come back. And it's okay to think about the future, right? We want to think about like what do we want for our future, right? Setting those goals, setting those dreams, setting that vision, creating our vision. Absolutely. Like using the present moment to think about the future and we what we want is a beautiful thing, but it's a very sneaky difference between I'm thinking about what lights me up for the future so I know how I want to use my present moment, time and energy versus, oh, I'm using the fantasizing, the future tripping to avoid actually enjoying the present moment and creating my life from the present moment. Because then you're just fantasizing, you're not actually creating your life. And my client who's watching right now, you know who you are. We talk about this all the damn time. So, feeling safe to be in the present, knowing that if you decide you are going to hit a goal or create something in your life, we have to stay in the present because if not, we are just going to get caught up in the how. Well, how is that going to happen? Or, oh, this could happen a million different ways, or maybe it could happen this way. And although, Amanda Francis talks a lot about this, and if you don't know Amanda Francis, she's one of my mentors. She talks a lot about how we can use this imagination of like imagining how the money can come in, imagining how the vision can happen, imagining how the goal can be met as a way to get our mind and energy behind that goal. But again, very sneaky difference between I am using this as a way to get my energy behind it versus, oh, I'm trying to figure out the how. And that is sneaky, right? We could be like, oh, I'm just creating my vision. But really, you're like, oh, I'm trying to figure out how it could happen. And so when you notice too much of that, you want to come back to the present. Think about how many times, and I have a whole other podcast episode on this, like staying in the present. If you have not listened to that, highly recommend. How many times we focus on, well, should I say this? Because what if this person responds this way? Like we try and figure out what the person's going to say. We try and figure out how the money's going to come in. We try and figure out what's going to happen. We're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to know. Again, the universe is trying to throw you a surprise party and you keep trying to figure out what the surprise is. Stop trying to figure it out and let yourself receive the surprise and the magic that the universe is trying to give you. We don't need to know. I don't want to know. I used to want to know. Whew, I used to want to know big time when I was living through trauma because my protector of needing to know was so strong. If I need to know or else I don't feel safe. The whole point of building internal safety is so that you feel safe to stay in this present moment and to not want to know. Why do I not want to know? Because I love surprises. And if you don't love surprises, that's because you don't feel safe to be surprised, because everything in life is actually a surprise because we can't control shit. So you didn't know many things, right? And so you could say, but Rachel, I hate surprise parties. I hate surprises. That's actually a lie. Tell me a time where you didn't know you were going to get that raise at work and that was a surprise. Did you hate that? No, I'm sure you didn't hate that. Your partner brings you home flowers. That was a surprise. You didn't know that was going to happen. Did you hate that? No, I'm sure you didn't hate that. You love it. You just don't necessarily feel safe to own that you love it because you have this sneaky part of your brain and a protector that likes to think that it can control and know things. It is time to release control. It is time to show your body a new way of safety and know that control is not even real. It is an energy, an energetic sense of grasping, of tightness, of control. It's not actually controlling because we cannot control. So it is just an energy, and we can shift that energy to say, we don't want to feel contracted and tight. I don't want to feel that in my chest anymore. I want to feel light and expansive and open, and so I'm going to stop trying to control everything because that actually doesn't work. And it only perpetuates suffering. So when you notice yourself future tripping, which I did a whole podcast episode last week on future tripping, you want to get out of your head, come back to the present moment, do whatever the fuck you need to do, ground with your five senses. Okay, in this present moment, I'm sitting in my room. I can see my mug. I can see my Stanley. I can see my phone holder. I can see my dog. I can see my heating pad. I'm in this present moment. I can hear silence, which is a gift because I manifested that. My old apartment was the opposite of silence, and all I wanted was quiet. You hear that? It's quiet. The most I ever hear from this apartment is birds chirping, and I'm like, oh, hallelujah. What can you taste? You can taste water. What can you smell? Nothing. Like, just ground, use your senses to ground in this present moment. And anytime your mind wanders off to tomorrow, to 5 minutes from now, to 10 minutes from now, come back to the present. In the present moment is how we create our future. In the present moment is how we actually get to feel all of the things that your mind is convincing you that you need that future thing to feel. You want money so that you can feel free. There are plenty of people in this moment that don't have any money who feel the most free. Money does not make you feel free. Money is an expander of and a reflector of what you already feel. An analogy I've been really working on this week is money is air, because money is energy and wind is energy, right? So if you think of both as energy, you can't see the wind. You can see the effects of the wind. You can't see money all the time. Maybe physically you can see a dollar bill, but you can't see the energy of money all the time because it's energy, right? But you can see the effects of that energy by how it's showing up in your physical reality. So if you can't see wind, but you can feel it and you know it's there and you believe it, why would you not believe the same about money? Because of your conditioning, right? So we future trip a lot about money, but we also future trip a lot about business or life or, death or whatever. Like, we future trip about so many things. But just like money is energy and we know that it exists, just like we know wind exists. I can see the trees blowing right now. And I can't see the wind, but I can see the effects of the wind, but I know the wind is there. We don't doubt the wind exists, right? Because we feel it. It's the same thing with money. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not all around us all the time. And it's through the present moment When you make that decision, you take the inspired action. Maybe around money, it would be rewriting your money story, writing out all of your old beliefs. This is something I'm working on. I'm going through a serious death and rebirth when it comes to money. And I'm just, I'm integrating and shifting deeper layers of my money wounds and this new money story. And so using that as an example, I'm deciding that I'm changing my money story and that I'm healing my money wounds. I'm deciding that it gets to be different. And then my inspired action is I'm literally writing out my money story, my new money story, and then I'm taking moments every day to connect to that wind analogy, to connect to money just is. Just like air is, the sky is blue. It's just facts. Money is consistent. That's my new money story. Staying in the present rather than, oh my God, how am I going to pay this thing next month? Oh, present moment. Right now, I have everything that I need. And even if you don't have everything you need, there's always solutions. Everything is temporary. If you can't pay that bill, that's okay. It's just temporary. And you get to feel the emotion that comes with that, right? I said in my stories yesterday when I got a rejection from a potential new client, I'm not going to bypass it. That sucks, right? I get to feel the human emotions and then I get to decide and go back to deciding that no matter how many rejections I get, no matter how hard anything is in life, relationships, money, like whatever, I have the power to change that, right? So I have the power to come back to my why. It does not mean it's going to be easy. I've had really high income months. I've had really low income months. I've had everything in between. And my money story is shifting to inconsistency to consistency. And that's in every other area of my life. I went from inconsistently taking care of myself to consistently taking care of myself. And as an emotional authority, I have those emotional waves. So I'm learning how to master the consistencies among the inconsistencies. And this is such a metaphor for life of like, life is going to look different in every moment. Different shit comes up in every moment. What is your consistent anchors to come home to? Your belief, your energy, what you have in your power, which is coming back to the present moment and taking your inspired action. So that brings us to our final step, energy. Step number 4. Every moment our external is reflecting our internal state. When things are not happening that we want, we have to come back to using it as feedback for what we believe to be true and or what the lessons are. So can you continue to come back to how is this happening for me? How is this happening for me? What is my energy reflecting in the external? And it doesn't, as Amanda Frances says, you can't fuck it up. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means that we are literally meant to learn. So if something's happening, it's either that we don't believe that we can have more. We don't believe we can become that famous basketball player. We don't believe that we can become that famous singer. We don't believe that we can just live a peaceful life. Maybe you don't want fame at all. Maybe you don't want money at all. Maybe you just literally want to wake up without anxiety. That's great. That's a great goal, right? Can you believe that you can heal your anxiety? And that was something that I shared with my mastermind group was like, if I could heal emotion dysregulation, if I could heal borderline symptoms, if I could heal anxious attachment, if I could heal my relationship with sickness, why would I not be able to heal my relationship with money, my relationship with my ego, my relationship with shame, my relationship with anything else? So let's say your goal is not anything having to do with money, fame, success, business. Let's scratch all that. Your goal is to wake up and have that knot in your chest not be there anymore. So apply the steps. Decide that you can heal anxiety no matter what therapist, doctor, bullshit lie society has sold you about needing to stay sick and just popping pills. You actually can decide otherwise what feels true for you. You can decide, I am going to heal this. Because let me tell you guys something, everything that I've healed in my life, in my emotional healing journey, has started with me Voxering my mentor saying, I am going to shift this. Did I know how? Nope. Did I know when? Nope. But I knew why. And that's all I needed to know. My why was that I didn't want to feel like that anymore. I didn't want my shit to affect my relationships anymore. I didn't want control to run my life anymore. I didn't want my inner child and her fear to run my life anymore. So I made a decision. I am going to shift this. I don't know how. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't even know where to begin, but it starts with a decision. I am going to shift this. So anything that you don't like right now in this present moment in your life, your relationship with anxiety, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your partner, your symptoms of depression, borderline, whatever symptoms you struggle with, your relationship with money, if you don't like any of it, step one, I am deciding to shift it. And even just claiming that to yourself, to the world, to me, to your mentor, to your coach, whatever, like just stating that actually communicates to the universe, to God, to our angels. Oh, okay, she's ready. She's ready to shift this. It's time to guide her. And so what happened was I made that decision. And then in every moment I noticed that thing come up, let's say it was control. Any moment the control came up, I had to relate differently. External validation was another big one. Anytime I wanted to ask for validation, I could feel that, like, does it make sense? Question come up, right? Because I wanted that validation of, like, does it make sense? Anytime I had that urge to say that, and I was like, okay, if we ask this, we're perpetuating the need for external validation. I just said that I'm deciding to shift that. And so if I said that I'm deciding to shift that, I have to do something differently. And so I'm going to use every ounce of my willpower to not ask that question of, does it make sense? I know it fucking makes sense. Of course it makes sense. That's the 2-year-old in me that was invalidated my entire childhood and just feels like I need to be told it makes sense. I know it makes sense. And underneath that is fear. And so if I can tend to the fear. So you might be listening to this and be like, oh, this sounds exhausting. Let me tell you, it is. But you know what's more exhausting is constantly being controlled by control, anxious attachment, all the things. Ooh, there's a spider. So that is exhausting. And so it is a temporary increase of energy and intentionality until it then becomes the new norm. Now I don't need external validation. I literally don't, which, like, if you guys only knew how strong my validation need was, like, you don't even know. There's literally no words that I can use to describe. It was an addiction. Like, it was as severe as someone who needs a heroin needle. Like, and that's not to sound dramatic or exaggerated. That is literally how it felt in my body. I was addicted to it and I did not feel safe without it. I did not feel safe without that validation. That is how strong that addiction was. And unless you've experienced that, you may not fully get that, and that's okay. But the fact that I have shifted that is literally, it's just the most proof you could ever need that you have the power to shift anything that is not working in your life. You have to start by deciding, I'm going to shift my relationship with money. I'm going to shift my relationship with anxiety. I'm going to shift how I'm relating to my fear, to my joy. We don't feel safe to fully trust joy, right? So we even have to shift our relationship with that. And that's okay. We all have to do that. So, what in your life do you want to shift? And where are you not believing that what you think is the norm actually doesn't have to be your norm anymore? You get to shift it. And I'm living proof of that. And anytime I have doubt about anything that I'm trying to shift in the present, I rewind to all of those things that I have already shifted. And I'm like, well, that shit was fucking hard. It literally felt like I was dying. And I did it. And so if I could come out on the other side of my validation addiction, of my control addiction, of my anxious attachment addiction, of my TV addiction, of my food addiction, of my dating and casual sex for external validation addiction, if I can shift all of that, why would I not be able to shift anything else? Why would I not be able to create anything else that I want in my life? And so you may not have that evidence yet, but how do you get the evidence that you can shift anything? Like I now have evidence. The only reason I now have evidence is because I started with believing that I could shift something and then I did it, and me doing it gave me the evidence of, oh, I can shift this. Right? So you have to start somewhere. You have to meet yourself where you're at. I'm trying to figure out if this is the same spider that was in my bathroom. I'm really healing again, another thing to shift. I'm really healing my relationship with spiders because I've had some spider trauma in a past life, and we are working to not kill the spiders, and we're working to just allow them to be here. So just like I have a cat and 2 dogs in my room right now, why would I not allow the spider? And as I started talking about, it's really quickly crawling, like very much. Yeah, it's going ham because it knows. So we're shifting it. We're allowing the spider to just be, just like we're allowing fear to just be. We're allowing joy to just be. We're allowing shame to just be. And when we can allow things to just be, in my men's group last night, one of the men was talking a lot about, well, the ironic part was he was saying like, I don't really think that I've had, like societal conditioning around like being a manly man. And then his next sentence was, so yeah, I'm trying to fix this thing. And I was like, oh, so that is your masculine conditioning, because men always think that they need to fix, right? So rather than emotion coming up and being like, I need to fix it, how can you say, oh, we're just going to allow it to be here? Refocus. All right. So we were on step number 4 of energy. Yeah, I think we were on our last step. Perfect. Okay. We're going to wrap this up so I can go get the spider out of my bed. Because the spider is welcome, but it's not welcome in my bed. So you get to have boundaries. um, Okay, let me get back to Zoom. There we go. Not hearing anything, turn up volume. All right. I think we're back. Okay. So, symbol of creativity, spider, spirit, animal. If you have the spider as an animal spirit guide, you may have an affinity with acts of creation and the ability to create delicate, intricate things or ideas. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the whole point of this is our energy is always determining what shows up. So if what's showing up is not what we want, we don't blame ourselves for that. We just then use that as feedback. Okay. So what is my energy creating and what is it reflecting externally so that I can learn what's happening internally? So if there's fear, right? If I have a fear of spiders, spiders are going to show up because it's creating that energy of fear is creating that. Now, then we oftentimes try and control it of like, well, then I can't be fearful. It's like, no, sometimes we have to face our fears to show our nervous systems that we are safe. Other times we then get like kind of magical thinking about it of like, oh my God, if I feel this and I'm going to create this, and then that's your control. That's a sneaky form of control, being like, oh, I can't feel this because then it's going to create the thing that I don't want to create. And it's like, we can't control it. What we can control is always looking at what is our energy? Is our energy contracted and tight? Are we saying that we believe in ourselves, but we don't actually believe in ourselves? Are we saying that we're going all in on our dreams and creating a life beyond our wildest dreams, but then we are like not showing up for the things we need to do and not actually believing in ourselves? So you have to really look at, is my energy matching the words coming out of my mouth, or is there a disconnect there? Because again, you have to embody it energetically every day. So you can say your mantras, your affirmations, but then you have to really embody in your nervous system. And you can't do that if your nervous system is still stuck in survival mode. And so you have to start with that. So you have to meet yourself where you're at. Meeting yourself where you're at looks like, okay, I can't get behind energy of, you know, getting 3 more clients or becoming an NBA star, whatever the fuck the goal is, but I can get my energy behind right now in this present moment, I'm safe. So start there. And going all in on yourself means no matter what, you keep going. Doesn't mean you don't take breaks, you don't rest, but a break is not tapping out energetically of like, I'm just giving up, I'm just throwing in the towel. It's like, no, I'm staying connected to my why, I'm staying connected to my vision, but I'm resting, I'm taking care of myself throughout that, and I'm not making so much shit mean stuff. I'm not making it mean that because I had a slower month or because I whatever the thing is, like you don't make that mean that your goal is not realistic. None of this is realistic. We live in a fucking floating rock. Like, how is that realistic? Like, throw that word out of your vocabulary and get so clear on what do you actually want? What do you desire? The authentic you, not what other people want for you, not what you see other people wanting. What do you want? And where do you not believe that you can have that? And then going all in means that you're not tapping out, you're not second guessing, you're not wishy-washy. You are like, I am here and I'm committed to my dreams no matter what, no matter how often it looks like it's not working. Faith is when it looks like it's not working and you choose to believe anyway. Faith is not, things are going beautifully. So, of course, I believe. That's not actual faith. That's having evidence of things going well. So then you believe it. Faith is when you don't have evidence. You don't have evidence that it's going to happen and you believe it's going to happen anyway because you believe in the power of you and the power of your ability to co-create a life beyond your wildest dreams. And so whatever that looks like, it could just be waking up feeling calm. It could be having healthier, more intimate, connected relationships. It could be, living on your own. It could be traveling. Like, get clear on what you desire. There's no wrong desire. It's all up to you. It's all what desires were placed in your heart and not comparing those desires to anyone else because we are all meant to have different desires. We are all meant to have our own unique desires. And then you decide, I'm just going to keep going and not waste so much time and energy thinking about the how, thinking about the what if, thinking about other options, thinking like so much time and energy is wasted. Stop wasting time and energy. Come back to what you want and believe that you can create that. Because if I can create it, why can't you create it? If this person can create it, why can't I create it? Like, we are no different from each other. We are all human beings who have to do the same work to believe in ourselves. That's it. Literally. Like, that is the common denominator among any goal, among any, difference of things that we might want. It's like we are all human beings who have to do the internal work to learn to believe in ourselves. No one is born believing in ourselves. It's quite the opposite, where we have so much conditioning, so much trauma, so much attachment wounding, where we don't believe in ourselves. And so then we wonder, well, why is this person, making more money or having that promotion or getting that raise or whatever the thing is? We have to look at what our energy is creating. We have to look at, are we saying that we believe in ourselves and we don't actually believe in ourselves? Because I've done that many times. I'm like, of course I believe in myself, but then my energy is like contracted. Right? Or I say, of course I'm worthy. I know I'm worthy, but then my energy is like, like, oh, I'm not worthy, right? I'm pedestaling people, right? It's like our egos don't want us to actually get to the honest truth of what we think about ourselves because that shatters so many perceptions of how we view ourselves. I used to view myself as like the most confident, independent woman in the world. And yes, to some extent I was, but internally there was a fucking activated 2-year-old who was just grasping and triggered and anxious and not feeling worthy and not believing in myself. And being honest with myself about that truly shattered the perception I had around myself, but it allowed me to access my authenticity. My authenticity is, yes, I am confident, but I didn't actually feel that way internally. And so now by doing this work, the internal matches how I'm presenting externally. Whereas before, how I would present externally did not match how I actually felt internally. And so we have to apply that to going all in on ourselves, going all in on our dreams and what we want. We have to look at where is our energy and our emotions not matching what we think and what we say we want. I say that I want this, and yet every day I'm not actually showing up for it. Well, then how badly do you want it? I say I want this, but it's not happening as quickly as I think it should be. Who are you to say how quickly things should happen? You're not God. You're part of God. You're a creation of God. And so you have to trust your creator in perfect divine timing. You're not supposed to know when the perfect timing is. You're not supposed to know that. It ruins the whole surprise of it. Again, the universe is trying to throw you a surprise party. Stop trying to figure out the surprise. You're ruining it. Stop ruining it. Allow yourself to receive the surprise. And if you are not becoming an energetic match for what you want, we have to look at where is there unprocessed trauma? Where is there unprocessed stored emotion that we all have in our bodies from childhood that if unless you actually tend to it and process it, which can even if you don't have money to hire me, you can literally start for free right now in this present moment by taking 3 deep breaths and noticing what happens in your body. Healing gets to be very simple. We like to overcomplicate everything. It gets to be so simple. I don't want to hear the money excuses. I don't want to hear, I don't have time. I don't want to hear, oh, well, is it really going to work? Just start breathing. That's literally all I'm asking you to do. And don't do it for me. Do it because you want to feel how you want to feel. All you have to do is take deep breaths throughout your day. Anytime you notice your mind getting in the way, anytime you notice fear come up, start taking deep breaths and noticing the sensations and holding space. Maybe you can only hold it for 2 seconds. Then the next time is 4 seconds. Then the next time is a minute. Start stretching your nervous system's safety and capacity to feel emotion. When you can feel the emotion, you can heal the emotion and you heal your relationship with the emotion so that you are no longer running away from your emotion, numbing your emotion, avoiding your emotion, distracting from your emotion. You get to actually feel safe to be with the emotion, which then allows you to be with pain, to be with joy, to be with anything that comes up, and you get to just be and receive, and you get to create a life based on your authenticity because you are authentically human who has emotions. So it's time to stop running from them. So where do you not believe in yourself? Where are you not going all in when you think you're going all in? And where are you running away from the present moment? And how can you come back to the present moment right now? All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I love you, love you, love you so much. We're going to go see if the spider is still roaming around my bed. And I'm going to use that as an invitation to maybe get out of my bed and go for a beautiful walk in the sunshine. So that's what we're going to do because look at how sunny it is. It is so beautiful. And look at my cute little car, Fiona. She's so cute. I love her. All right. Love you guys. Go all in on yourself. Repeat these 4 steps. Come back to the 4 steps. Decide. What was it? Inspired action. Come back to the present and energy. Keep shifting your energy. I literally just made those up on the spot in Slack yesterday. So I hope they're helpful. Would love to hear how this lands for you. And if you're hearing this on the pod, thanks for tuning in. And I will see you for the next episode. If you guys need support, I have one-on-one spaces open. I have spaces open in my membership. And Come Home to Yourself is ending next week. I have not decided when the next round will start, but if you're interested, that's for anxiously attached women. And if you're interested in the next round of the men's group, all the things, DM me. But the 2 main things that you can jump in right now, one-on-one membership. Mwah. Love you. Bye.